my channel. My name's Elizabeth. I am not an Etsy guru, and I'm not trying to be an Etsy guru, but I am somebody who has been with Etsy since 2009. I started out making sterling silver jewelry, and I was even selected to be one of their artists that was at the One of a Kind show and sale in Chicago. That was part of, I think there were 12 of us that were chosen to do that. So I've really had a long and varied history with Etsy. And now that I've had my son, I do a lot of POD products through Etsy because I can't do a lot of like torch work and things like that with him running around and me being a stay-at-home mom most of the time. But I wanted to talk about Etsy because there's a lot of things going on. I'm sure you have seen, if you're at all tuned into all of the Etsy drama, there was a lot going on about listings being deactivated for mock-ups. Etsy has said that that is not the case, but just from anecdotal information, it looks like maybe there were some rogue bots going around, kind of flagging listings that looked similar. And if you see a lot of the same mock-up in different shops, you might think that that is something that's not original to your shop. And I know that some people had said that the mock-ups that were being flagged were mock-ups that were not for the exact same product. So it might have been like a Gildan t-shirt and not a Bella and Canvas. If you're selling a Bella and Canvas, but you had a Gildan mock-up and you thought it was close enough, that's not going to fly for Etsy. So you just have to be super, super careful with your mock-ups. Even if Etsy is saying that they're okay, I would still be very cautious. But today I kind of want to talk about how to Etsy proof your business, because let's be honest, Etsy as a company, it's changed a lot since I started in 2009. And one thing that Etsy is not really good at is being transparent. And as a seller, they can just change about anything. And there's not a lot you can do about it. And sometimes you're not even given any notice. So it's really good to kind of safeguard your business. And I want to talk about my process because I'm somebody who has multiple Etsy stores. And during the pandemic, I started a POD store like so many people do, basically chasing a buck. I'm not even going to lie. I was chasing a buck. I was trying to make money because I had quit my teaching job. And I really just needed something to help sustain us while I stayed home with my child. And we were trying to figure out what was going on. So I started a POD business. It was largely t-shirts, mugs. Most people sell these things in POD. I would say that's probably the majority of what people start out with in POD. And I kind of was all over the place. I was just kind of doing anything that would sell. I sold a lot of masks. That was super popular, but I sold a lot of t-shirts and mugs and all sorts of fun things. But I didn't really have a voice. I literally was just kind of chasing seasonal things. I'll be honest, I did some pop culture references. I thought I was pretty safe, but I think sometimes you have to. Looking back, I don't think it's something I would do again today. I was drawing all of the designs myself, so I will say that was something that I really felt like I still needed to do with Etsy. I know a lot of people use Canva, and there is a place for that, but from being on Etsy for so long, I was always of the mind that you needed to have some sort of hand in the creation of your design. And I know some people will say, and I know it is legal, but some people will say grabbing a couple graphics off of Canva and putting some text with it is creating a design. And that is, but not in my mind what the origin of Etsy was for. So in my mind, I still felt like I needed to create my own products. But even with that, I was churning out products pretty quickly. I wasn't really focused on having a voice, having a specific brand. I did have a logo. I did have colors with my branding, but my products were all over the place. Because let's face it, I was just basically chasing a buck. And I did make probably the most money that I've made on any Etsy store that I've had. There were times when I would go for a hike and I would come back and my cell phone had been out of range, and I would come back and I would just hear cha-ching, 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 because I would just be selling left and right. And that's a good feeling. And when you start to get that feeling, you think, oh, this is great. I'm going to keep going and keep going and keep going. Well, fast forward to now, and it's, 2 or 3 years later, and I was still selling on that Etsy store, but now I have put it on vacation mode, and I'm strongly considering just scrapping it. And the reason for that is with all of this Etsy nonsense, it's really made me take a step back and kind of think about why I even want to be in business in the first place. And if you took me back to when I originally started in Etsy in 2009, I would have said it was to have a creative voice, to create something original, and to have a brand that I could be proud of. And I really just didn't feel like the POD store that I had was really that. It was not original to me. It wasn't really. Even though I was drawing the designs, they weren't super unique designs. They were candy corn, or things that would have to do with seasons. And there is a place for that. I'm not saying there's not a place, but for me, I felt like I needed to set myself apart a little bit, create a brand that I could be proud of and that would last, whether I'm on Etsy or not. So eventually, I did segue. I do have another shop that I'm pouring the majority of my time into now, and I am feeling a little bit better and more optimistic about things, even though I'm not making as many sales at the start. But I feel I understand more of my direction and where I'm heading. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. If you are starting out in POD, there are a lot of YouTubers who are going to tell you to create 100 listings in an hour and to paste them up onto your website. And you can do that and you will make sales. And I guarantee you that will work to a point. But I also want you to think about the fact that we are in the age of AI, and people are going to start using AI to mechanize this process of listing products. And you're going to see, not only are you able to create 100 products and throw them up online, but now people who are utilizing AI are going to be able to create thousands of products in a day and put them up onto Etsy. And so what's that going to do? Well, it's I think going to saturate Etsy, and it's going to be very difficult to find what you're looking for and to search. And it already is starting to, in my opinion, anecdotally, become that. And I think B, it's just going to be a race to the bottom, because yes, you can put 100 listings up on Etsy, but if everybody else can as well, how are you going to set yourself apart? Are you going to just lower your prices? Are you going to have better photos? Maybe you do have better mock-ups or better photos, or there are things that you can do to set yourself apart, but only to a point, because there are only so many nurse shirts. There are only so many teacher shirts. And there is a market for that, but if we're just getting saturated in there, there's a point at which this will become unfeasible. And if you're throwing all of your energy and all of your effort into creating these products, you're going to get sales right off the bat. What's going to happen a year or two down the line when that starts fizzling out and you haven't created that brand for yourself that can outlast Etsy? So here's what I would recommend, and this is just my personal experience, my 2 cents. It's not, I am not a guru. Again, I just kind of want to talk through this because this is a kind of realization that I've come to for myself as well. So my 2 cents is that you need to take this opportunity right now where Etsy's kind of going through all these changes and take a step back and think about who you are and what makes you unique, what you are providing to the market. The other thing that I think you need to think about is why you are creating the products that you are. When I pivoted to my new shop, I am creating a lot of products that are based on my interactions with my son and what I've discovered as a mom that he really enjoys. And so I have started making a lot of products that as a mother, I would want to purchase for him. And it's something I can be really proud of as well. And maybe that's not you if you're not, not everybody's a mom. So maybe you're into cycling and you can create products that specifically speak to your experience as a cyclist. But again, I think this is stuff that people have talked about before, finding your niche. But I would also say it goes beyond that. It's finding your niche in an area that you are also very knowledgeable in and passionate about. And if you can marry those two things together, I think that will be communicated from yourself to your customers, and it will give you that passion to keep going even when things aren't great. Now, also, I think that beyond just analyzing who you are and why you're making your products, I think it's really important for you not only to be a creator and a business owner, but an educator to your customers. Educate them on why you are making your product. Educate them on why you care about it, why it's different than the other products that are out there. Educate them on your process in making it. I've started to show time lapses of me drawing in order to show the process that goes into me creating my products. So people don't think that I'm just slapping an element online, or I mean, not online, but onto my products that I get online and then just selling it. They're seeing that this is coming from somebody who's putting a lot of time and effort into it. And that's going to look different for every person. Some people are drawing, some people may have just text-based designs, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But maybe you show yourself brainstorming some of the different phrases that you're going to be using. But make it fun and interactive, and get out there on your social media. And I would also say on your Etsy About page, make sure that you have a video on your About page. Make sure that you're actually telling your story, because that's a great opportunity for people to realize that this is a real person behind your shop. It's not just an AI bot. It's not just somebody who's churning out a whole bunch of stuff without any passion or interest or pride in what they're creating. Because to be honest, you can get that stuff on Amazon. Why would I want to buy from somebody on Etsy if they don't really care about what they're selling? So really care about what you're selling. Educate your consumers about what you do, what you're selling, and pivot off of Etsy. I think that's really important right now. I'm not saying leave Etsy completely. Etsy is a great place to do a couple of things. As long as the algorithm continues as it is, you should get some just organic sales by being on Etsy in general. The other thing that Etsy does is it gives you visibility, and it gives the consumer, I think, a little bit more confidence in what you're selling, because if they can go on Etsy, which is a known marketplace, and they can see that you've made sales there, that people have been satisfied, that they've left good reviews for you, then they probably are going to be more willing to shop on your standalone website. If you just have a standalone website, you don't have any reviews linked yet, you don't have any clarity in terms of where your business is located, or you don't have a lot of background information, a consumer, I know I wouldn't personally feel comfortable purchasing from a standalone website in that case, because who knows if it's a scam, who knows if it's actually going to be delivering the products. So Etsy is still a good place to be for a lot of different reasons. I'm not saying you need to bail on Etsy, but there's a good possibility Etsy will bail on you. So you have to start laying that groundwork for either another site or another platform. I know some people are going to Shopify. Some people are even switching to eBay, but I don't have any experience with eBay. I don't know if it's any good compared to Etsy, if the search is getting you many organic sales there or not. So I'm not recommending any of those things. I've not done Shopify either. I do have a standalone WooCommerce, and I did sell some things on there. This was from my other shop that I originally had, but I will be honest, most of those were coming from friends and family. So the majority of my sales still came on Etsy. What I would recommend is partnering with an email marketing company where you can get an email list. because that is so important. Once you own that, you can send out any communications to people and still make sales, whether you're on Etsy or not. I know that Etsy partners with Aweber, Aweber, and you can integrate that right into your Etsy store, but that does cost a little bit of money. It might be a little cheaper to go with a different email marketing company. And in that case, I know you can't integrate it with your Etsy, but you can do things like adding a slide to your Etsy listing that says, go to this URL and sign up for our email for 15% off our entire shop. So you can encourage people to go and sign up, even if you're not integrating it directly into Etsy. But if you can integrate it into Etsy, that would be ideal, because then any sales that you make off of Etsy, that's just going to automatically ask people if they want to sign up for your email list. Now, what I would not do, and what is illegal actually, is using any contact information from the people who have already ordered from you to add them to a mailing list without their consent. So it's really important that you go through an email marketing company and that they have that consent to actually sign up for that. And they have to be able to, unsubscribe. There's a lot of rules with it. So just make sure that you're doing that in the legit way, so that you don't have any legal ramifications from that. But if you go through a company, you should be fine. I guess what it all boils down to is do some soul searching, know why you're making what you're making, and have some fun communicating who you are, what you do, and why you do it to your customers. It should be a fun process. It should be a way for you to be creative, to share your passions in life, and to make this more than just a way to crank out a whole bunch of stuff for fast, quick, easy sales that you just really don't care that much about. If that is your game and that is what you're there for, go for it. But I think people like me, and I think a lot of other people out there, actually want to make this more of a long-term business, want to have some meaning in what we do, and not just like fast fashion that's gonna find its way to the dumpster in a year. So Etsy proof yourself by basically being bigger than the race to the bottom that is Etsy. Make yourself your own brand, stand out, be unique, and have fun with it. And thanks for watching my videos. I am going to share some other videos on how to make some Etsy listing videos, because I think those are sometimes challenging for people, and you can do them pretty quickly and easily with a couple little tips. So I'm going to be adding some videos on how to do that, and how to create some interesting mock-ups using the POD mock-ups that are already there. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, please subscribe, click the like button if you like, and I hope to talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.